Brenda J. Lilly here from Creative Consultations. I just wanted to put out a small disclaimer before we launch into today's video that says I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm just here to engage, to encourage, and hopefully empower other artists to go out and live their art dream. So here we go. Enjoy the video. Good Monday morning, everybody. Brenda J. Lilly here. It's time for another Monday morning kickstart. It is May 26th, the final Monday in May. If you can believe that. Wow. If you like this video, and I hope you do, give us a thumbs up. It means a lot to me. And also, subscribe to the channel. But most importantly, share these videos with everyone you know and love so we can continue to become the people we were created to be. All right, everyone. I'll see you on the flip side. Good Monday morning, everybody. Brenda J. Lilly here with her big old cup of coffee. I hope you're ready. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let us go gaily tripping down the path. All right. So today I want to talk a little bit about expectations and also about protecting our hearts and also about finding our people. So I saw this post on Facebook and it was this young artist. I mean, I think he was 9 or 10 years old. So sweet. And he had created this topiary for his class. And he'd carved all of these intricate animals, a hedgehog, an owl, and he'd placed it inside this shoebox that he had painted, and he created a whole woodland scene. It was brilliant. I mean, it was chef's kiss, beautiful, a work of art. Apparently, when he brought it in, his classmates laughed at him, his teacher didn't really pay attention to it, and he was crushed. Of course, right? When you put your heart and soul into a project, no matter what that project is, when you go out of your way to make it beautiful and brilliant, when you share your artistry by creating something, I think the expectation is that people will appreciate it. But the truth and reality is some people will and some people won't. So we need to manage our expectations, which is really hard when you're 8, 9, 10 years old. As a child, this is, I mean, come on, we're all still learning this process as adults, right? So I can't imagine an 8-year-old managing this successfully. But it is the beginning of a really hard process as a creative and an artist of looking at your art and what it is you create, how you create. And if you love it, that should be enough. Like you're not creating necessarily for other people, even though you are. I mean, this little boy was creating because he had a class project. And so this is how his creative mind interpreted the class project, where other people probably wrote a little thing or drew a picture. He went all in and did these like 3D, like beautifully carved, intricate things. The detail was painstaking. And so the thing that you want when you throw yourself into something like this is for somebody to say, wow, that's amazing. And when that doesn't happen, we can be hurt. We can get disengaged. We can actually just put our pens, our pencils, our putty knives, our creative instruments down and just forget about it. Like if that's the way it's going to be treated, then why bother? Except here's the thing, if you are creative in your heart of hearts, if this is the thing that makes you tick, if this is the thing that like butters your popcorn, It doesn't just go away. Putting it in a closet, hiding it under a bushel, denying it, treating it like it's second fiddle, these are choices you can make. But as a creative person, I know that it is not a long term solution. The long term solution is to take the dive, to leap, take that leap of faith, and trust that your work is enough, that you are enough to enjoy the process of creating and creation, whatever it is we are creating is a part of the journey. So if you enjoyed the creative process, if you enjoyed like all of the nitty gritty and how the painstaking detail of all of that, don't let someone's response or lack of response to your work rob you of your joy. See, that's what we do when we expect other people to respond the way we would respond to it. Whatever it is, whether it's a painting or if it's a pencil drawing or if it's a carving or whatever. If it's a dance, if it's a theater piece, you know, this is when we realize when we actually put our stuff out there for other people to look at, to partake of, to hopefully enjoy, we're putting our hearts on the line because these things came from there out of the wellspring of life, right? This is us as a creative. And you want people to enjoy your work. You want people to honor your work and every single human being I've ever met wants some form of acceptance. And so a pat on the back, a wow, that's amazing. Wow, that's really creative is all we're looking for when we start this work, right? And when we don't get it, if we're not careful, it can crush our spirit. If we don't realize that the most important thing is that we enjoy the process, that we enjoy the journey that creating this thing took us on, and the end result fills us with satisfaction. When you get to that place where you go, yeah, it's good. I'm happy with it. That makes me happy. Other people's response or lack thereof almost doesn't matter. Almost. I think there's always going to be a part of us that wants everybody to love it. But I think as we get older, I also realize, and we also realize, that not everybody is going to like our stuff. We are not for everybody. It's one of the things I've said about my personality structure. Like, I am not everyone's cup of tea. Brenda J. Lilly is not everyone's cup of tea. Sometimes I'm too loud. Sometimes I'm too organized. Sometimes I'm too meticulous. Other people have called me anal retentive. Sometimes I'm too much of a bulldog or a bulldozer. People have called me a force of nature. And so when you have that kind of a personality construct, you learn really quickly you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. That's okay. So you learn how to manage your expectations of how other people perceive you and how other people perceive your work. I went almost to the other side of things as I was learning how to manage my expectation and went to like zero expectation. Like, I expected everyone to hate me. I expected everyone to hate my work. I didn't ever expected accolades or anything like that. And so when they came, I didn't understand them. I was like, what are you talking about? It didn't make any sense to me that people would actually care about my work because I had decided it didn't matter. It does matter. It needs to matter, but you have to manage. There needs to be a balance. There needs to be sort of a level playing field. You know, that one person's response to your work can't just upend your whole world, or a group of people can't upend your whole world, because you never know the next day. If your piece is hanging on a wall, the next day like 20 more people might come in and just love it. But if you've given up because the first 20 people who saw it didn't like it or weren't interested in it or even hated it, you miss out on the joy that comes when other people who do like it come in the door, right? It's why it's so important to find your people. Find the people who do appreciate you and your work. I just want to interject this thought in this moment. And I know it's out of the list, out of order from the list I gave at the beginning of the video, but it does not matter. Finding your people, finding those people who will encourage you, who will engage with your work, who will help you to grow is so important. They're not just yes men. They're not saying everything that comes out of you is a brilliant piece of art. No. They're saying I love you. I love your creative spirit. I love your work, and then they give you positive and constructive criticism so you can keep on growing. Those are your people. Find those people. And when you do, man, oh man, your expectations and how to balance them sort of comes into alignment, because those people will tell you the truth. If what it is you've created is subpar, is not your best work, they will let you know. And that's a good thing. It might hurt, but it's a good thing to have trusted people you trust, tell you the truth. You grow and you become and you keep on becoming who you were created to be. So important. And it doesn't rob you of the joy of the journey of that piece, even if it is subpar. You can always maintain that joy. Joy is a choice, always. No matter what we're talking about here, folks, joy is a choice. It's a decision. It's a gift. For my from my belief system, it is a gift from God himself. It's not happiness. Happiness is temporal, but also a choice, isn't it? And so often we choose misery. We choose suffering. We want our circumstances to give us the feeling of joy. But that's not it, really. Circumstances shouldn't steal our joy, be able to steal our joy. We should always be able to have joy, no matter where we are, no matter what we're facing. And so, even in these moments when people don't appreciate what we've done and all of the work we've done, it shouldn't negate how much joy you have and how much you love the work you've done. Quick little story here. I was working in the Netherlands and we were doing a show, and it shall remain nameless. And I loved this show, loved this show. And people's response to it, the first time we put it up, people's response to it were mixed. They liked it, they didn't like it. They thought it was heresy, which it wasn't. And it was just like I got like raked over the coals by a couple of people because of this show. And I found it interesting because the cast, the crew, myself, and I would say 95% of the audience enjoyed this show so much. It was the 5% who just happened to be the loudest voices in the room who tried to rob me of my joy. And, my choice was, do I engage in that or do I walk away? And so I chose to walk away because it wasn't worth trying to convince them that they were wrong, trying to convince them of the show's worth and value, that they were incorrect about its premise, its storyline, and the meaning behind certain things. It was all just too much. If they couldn't get it, it wasn't for them. And I wasn't going to waste my time, my breath, my attention, and my life on that. It's not worth it. It was not worth it. And it was not worth the frustration and the sadness that I was going to have to walk through in order to get them to the other side, even if I could, which wasn't a guarantee. So I walked away and I said, that's enough. I had in another area of my life that wasn't creative at all. It was an administrative process of my creative life. I have to go to conferences and I have to interact with people, and I was at a particular conference and it was torture. It was absolute torture. I was trying to do a performance. Nobody really cared about it. Nobody honored it. There was no value in it at all. I didn't know that going in. I found that out during the first performance when, in the middle of my performance, someone just from the audience just walked up to me and said, "Where's the toilet?" I literally stopped my performance and I pointed her in the right direction. But I knew at that moment I shouldn't be here. And I made a decision at the end of that week that I would never again go to that kind of a conference for my soul's security, my heart, to protect my heart. And so that is the secondary part of this, right? So manage your expectations. Don't let others' lack of response or negative response steal the joy that you had in the journey of creating. The second is when you get into those bumper car moments with people or with companies or with whatever organizations, you get to have some control. This is your intellectual property. This is your work, right? For me, this was my ministry that was being sort of dumped on and like treated like nothing. And I just decided, you know what? No, I'm not going to allow myself to be treated like that ever again. And so, no, I won't go to those kinds of conferences and events. And I won't put my work out there like that because it's not the right place for it. And all it does is crush my spirit and hurt my heart. And so I'm going to protect my heart. Sometimes we don't know that going in, but once we learn it, my goodness, learn the lesson and don't have to relearn it. I had somebody come up to me like a week ago. I was at a conference doing some administration stuff, which was fine. It was a good conference, happy to be there. Made a lot of good connections. But I had someone come up to me and ask me if I was going to go to this big conference, which is what I was talking about earlier. And I said no. And they were like, "Oh, but it could be so amazing, there's all this stuff and blah 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 blah." And I said, "Yeah, I promised myself 6 years ago that I would never again, for the protection and security of my heart and soul, attend that conference. I was crystal clear. And they looked at me and they went, "Oh." I said, "But have a nice time." Because a lot of people do really enjoy that conference. Obviously, it's huge. It's a national conference, right? Who am I? Go, enjoy, be a part of it. I just know for me, I don't need it. It's not something of import or interest. And until the import part of it and interest thing changes, I'm not going to subject myself or my work to it. So, those are the things. Yeah. These are good things. They're not easily won lessons. A lot of times we as artists and creatives have to go through quite a bit of heartbreak in order to get to this point where we actually take a pause, stand up for our work and ourselves, enjoy the process regardless of outcome. Because honestly, the creative process is a journey and it's not really about the results. It's about the journey that each piece takes us on. Of course, we want every piece to be brilliant, but I think all artists know not every piece is going to be museum quality or worthy. Some will be, and some won't. But that doesn't negate the the joy of the journey, and it doesn't negate the power and of the journey and all that you learn on that journey. I think every time you make something, create something, you enter into the creative process, we learn new things, and we can set new goals, and we can keep on filling up our cup with joy so that out of the overflow, that's when those pieces come that are just amazing. It's out of the overflow, not of the undertow, as it were, right? I think that's all I have for us today. I've had a few short videos. This is a long video, but I think the point was important. It was certainly important enough for me to pause and recognize that young artist this week and give him just a great big thumbs up and tell him to keep on creating. Um, and so I encourage us all to do that for one another. When we go to, I went to a gallery showing last weekend, and I thought the pieces were brilliant. I didn't like every single piece, but man, I thought overall the show was amazing. And all the artists, whether they were my cup of tea or not, you could see how much of themselves they poured onto the canvas or into the carvings or into whatever it was they were creating. And I love that. I love when I see artistic people, creatives coming out and just giving it their all. It's amazing. And so I want to encourage us to be encouragers for others. So go out and love on the artists that you know and encourage them in their work, encourage them in their journey, help them to keep going and growing. Don't be the person that shuts them down. Don't be the person that laughs at their artistry or at their creativity, but be the person that helps them become who they were created to be. All right, everybody. I hope you have a blessed week. I will see you next Monday, and it will be June. All right. Love you. Hey, thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe. What are you waiting for? All right. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye.